Right then, this is a quick walk around video for absolutely lovely Honda Civic. This is a 1.6 SR diesel, 64 plate. Car's covered just 51,000 miles. Finished in white with full black leather interior. White always looks fantastic on these because it's got the black roof, privacy glass, wheel arch trims, all breaks it up beautifully. Just sits very nicely on the car. Going around the car, really nice condition. Lights and lenses on the front there, clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation there. Bonnet exceptionally clean. You can see any obvious stone chips. The inside of the car, lovely and smooth in the flanks, really crisp in the panel work. Bumper corners in the back, and very clean. Bumper, very nice. A couple of tiny little touch-ins done over the years, but I'm talking minuscule stuff. Then offside of the car, driver's side, again beautifully smooth. It is a lovely, lovely car, this one. It's a 10-year-old car. It's been kept in really nice condition. Coming to the boot area, absolutely cavernous boot. Fabric's been kept again in really, really nice condition there. Just coming into the back, enormous amounts of room. You've got these incredibly clever magic seats, so the seat base folds up and they fold absolutely flat as well. Civics are family cars, which generally means in the back you'll find a fair degree of wear and tear. Nothing to do with build quality, yet this one, the leatherwork has been kept beautifully. On the front of the passenger side, very clean. Footwell there is nice. Full set of original Honda tailored mats. Passenger seat again in lovely condition. Finally coming on the driver's side, the door card lovely and clean. Same with the footwell areas. The driver's seat for a 10-year-old car, got a bit of bolster compression as you slide it out, which is completely normal. Bolster getting in and out really good on the side, just the tiniest bit of wear. It's miles better than most. Inside the car now. Engine's running, so the dash is illuminated, and an absolutely stunning interior in here. Lovely condition as well. Sat nav, as you can see, working absolutely perfectly. Pop the car into reverse, and you've got that lovely clear rear parking camera as well. And going down the centre, again, all been kept absolutely beautifully. And that is the view you get as a driver on one of these Civics. The best dash binnacle by a mile. Absolutely stunning. Look good to look at, but fantastic to use. Just quickly pan up there for you. Hopefully you can see 51,567 miles, and there are no warning lights on at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 SR diesel. The car's registered FX64NLD. And mileage at the start of the road test is 51,567. The reason we do these videos, and as I always say, especially this part, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of the cars we're selling, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. We've always felt it important purely because, like loads of people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description, but only to get there and find out when you drive it, it's got an obvious fault that shows up, which can be hugely frustrating. Also done on these very quiet country roads. It's a beautiful part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is, of course, it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you go on test driving the car. So coming to the car, very well looked after car, and it's immediately obvious when you drive it. It just feels absolutely as tight as a drum. Engine starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car. The engines are superb diesels. They've got all the trademark qualities that you get from Honda, so with just good regular servicing they should give very reliable, long-lasting engines. They're timing chain driven, so there's no cam belts to worry about, so no big service looming on them. They're very economical. I've owned loads of these and been amazed with what the economy you can get. Even shorter trips, they're economical. Longer trips, they're amazing. But almost more than that, it's just how nice it is to drive. It's very smooth and quiet, very tractable. It's got lovely power delivery, unlike some of its competitors, which has kind of got lots of power, then they die away very quickly. This is very linear, it just keeps going. As you keep your foot down if need to be. But a fantastic unit. Engine then feeds into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car, bike points exactly where it's meant to be. It's nice and smooth in operation. Bike points exactly. I just said that, repeated myself nearly. Gearbox, 6-speed manual gearbox. Honda do the best gearboxes anywhere. Just brilliant. Like most front-wheel drive cars, the gear lever here is actually joined to the gearbox by cables, which is the norm these days. Unfortunately, that does mean that lots of cars give you horribly sort of light, vague, and just disconnected feeling gear changes. This feels, even though it isn't, like it's going straight into gearbox underneath. It's got that lovely, almost heavy mechanical feel to the gears. It's not heavy at all, it's obviously incredibly easy, but it just feels substantial, engineered, which it is. It feels what it is. It's just brilliantly done, and it's very satisfying to use, and that feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. So coming on to steering and chassis, steering tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. It's a lovely setup as well. Again, you know, the modern way now, as with the Civic, is to have electric power steering. It's got lots of advantages. Again, it also lends itself to manufacturers giving you kind of, again, really rather vague sort of steering, sort of light and lifeless. This has a bit of weight to it. It's very direct, very accurate, very quick, but it never unsettles the car, which is hard to achieve all of that and you deliver sort of such a confident drive of the steering. Because these are, you know, ultimately it is a family hatch, so its design criteria is to get families made to be safely and comfortably, and it does that brilliantly. But what it also has is a real sort of vigour to the chassis. The steering's a great part of that, because when you go into the corners, it loves to change direction quickly, but the steering and the chassis work beautifully together. The chassis, it sits lovely and flat to the corners. It's just so keen. That's what I love about them. It's just a really enjoyable car to drive if you like driving. Incidentally, there are no rattles or clonks coming from underneath the car that shouldn't be there, so it's all really tight and taut. Brakes on the car, ordinarily I do them at a higher speed, but unfortunately we're rather stuck behind someone who's going at pedestrian speeds. But the brakes are excellent on the car. There's no pulsing or vibrations coming back through the pedal, and they bite with real sort of venom. They're good, strong brakes. And then finally coming inside the car, first and foremost, beautifully put together, in really lovely condition in here as well. I've always said that, you know, the Civic interior, you know, it is you either like it or you don't, you know, simple as that. But I always think that's a really good sign of design, because you shouldn't like everything. It'd be a pretty boring world if you did. But what I love about the interior, not only in my eyes at least, is it fantastic to look at. It couldn't be anything other than a Civic. But it's not just for show. In fact, it's not for show at all. It is for function. But it just happens to look sensational, especially when it's lit up at night, which is rather nerdy, but it really does look fantastic. First of all, the most conventional part will be the centre stack here. So very similar to lots of cars, but beautifully done, as Honda always do. Sat nav, you can see, working perfectly. Dual zone climate control system, gives you different temperatures side to side. Heated seats, again, all working perfectly well. But then in front of me, this brilliant two-tier design. The upper deck is the information you're going to look at most regularly on the move. So what Honda have designed it for is to minimise the amount of time you have to sort of take your eyes off the road, and that's where the genius lies. You've got an information display pod up on the left, so if you change things like radio channels or fan speed, you got smaller displays down here, so I press the button now, but you get a much bigger one, comes up high up, so you're not having to look down into the bowels of the car. But the gauge that everyone should be looking at most regularly, of course, is your speed. And there it is, all by itself, white on black, digital display, nothing else to sort of distract you. And it means I can look at cars, pedestrians, cyclists, horses, whatever happens to be on the road, but at the corner of my eye, without taking my eyes off the road at all, I can see my speed. And that is simply genius. It really, really is. And I always say, and I firmly believe, I think it's the Honda's eternal shame that they've reverted back to a more sort of conventional style instrument cluster, because this just works simply brilliantly, and also just really rather nice to look at. Down below that, you got more conventional pod of 3 dials, your rev counter in the middle, flanked either side by the temperature and fuel gauges. And finally, you've got this lovely leather-bound steering wheel. It is a fantastic car, really is. Cannot fault it in any way.